Hello, everybody. Welcome to SHEENA'S Guide. So today I have got Amal with me, who will be telling his journey from passing his OAT, how he has done his GPSC registration, and how he got the, how he got into till he get, to the university. Hello, Amal.
Hi, Andy.
Can you introduce yourself, Amal?
My name is Amal. I'm from Kerala, and I had done PharmD from RGHS University, Karnataka. Now I am working as an assistant professor in East West College of Pharmacy, Bangalore. And I have completed my GPSC registration process. Now I'm looking forward to admission into some of the universities.
Right. Thank you, Amal. Amal, so let's start from I think loads of people have asked me to do a video in English, and that's why I'm very glad that you came forward. To everybody, I have created a WhatsApp group. It's just because everybody asked me the same question. So I think that group, Amal has been the person. I think everybody, whatever they know, they put their views on it. And I'm very glad that everybody puts their, gives suggestions, helps each and everyone. And I think outstanding is Amal. And I'm pleased that Amal came forward to do this
Thank
video.
You so much. Thank you so much.
So Amal, after you passed your OAT, so you did your PharmD and then you started your OAT. Did you do any training? Did you do your OAT yourself? Or did you do any training?
No. I actually, I got training from Avigna Agency, Bangalore.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, when it comes to pharmacy, they are not so familiar with writing module and speaking.
Okay.
Since listening, reading are almost same, they'll train you that. But when it comes to writing and speaking, they don't have that much materials also.
Okay.
And in my case, I have done a lot of homework myself. I have watched a lot of YouTube videos regarding how to write and what to speak. So I was already prepared before receiving the training itself. At first, it seemed very tough, especially when it's comparatively simple when you take IELTS, but you cannot take it that lightly. Of course, it's going to be challenging for you, especially when you take reading and listening modules. It's not very easy.
Oh, okay.
So you have to do a lot of tasks. And after completing 1 month or 2 months of doing that, you will get that technique to do.
Okay.
At first, I was very bad in that, but I thought I'm not able to do it. But later I got that technique. I don't know, we'll get it by ourselves.
I think that's what I have to tell you to all the students who are doing their OAT or IELTS. Even if you have failed first time, don't dishearten yourself. Put your 100% to yourself and you will definitely get. And if by chance, if you have not got through the IELTS, try OAT because OAT is a bit more easier than IELTS. But I won't say that you don't take it lightly, but it's a bit more easier than IELTS.
Yeah, that is what I want to tell you guys. Just because people say, oh, it is easy, what they meant is comparatively it is easier to IELTS, but it is not easy to crack. It's also very difficult. All you have to do is minimum of 2 months or 3 months of training. That is what I did. And compared to IELTS, it's easier to clear in one go. Yeah, that's it. So I cleared my OET in August.
Okay.
August 7th, I sit for exam. Then I got my result on August 25th.
Good. IELTS, if it is you're doing IELTS 7 in all the 4 bands, you can do how many hours sittings you want, but all the 7 in all the 4 bands, you have to get it in one sitting. OAT, it's B in all the 4 bands. Again, you can do how many ever times you want, but you have to get it in all 4 bands. And I think previously I have done videos where Asha is there in Bangalore who does the OAT training. And I think Anand also has started a group doing OAT training. So you have got quite a few people around at the moment because earlier students didn't have anybody. But I think as the days are going, I think we have got a few people now. So now we have Anand who has started a group and also Asha is there who is also doing the OAT training.
Right. Yes, ma'am, exactly. Recent candidates are really blessed. When I was doing, there was none. Only you were there. I got some materials from you, some idea from you. But now I think because of these groups, many candidates are being they know what the course is, and they are being encouraged to pursue this course also.
Yeah, that's good. So now you passed your OAT, and coming to the GPHC registration, how did you start with?
Well, the advantage with OET is you don't have to send any mark card directly from OET.
Okay.
The thing with OET is you just have to give a permission to them.
Okay.
So that's an advantage when you take OET compared to IELTS. And I have seen some students struggling to send the scorecard, IELTS scorecard directly. So with the OET, that is an advantage. And after I know that I cleared OET, the first thing I did was to apply for ENIC statement of comparability certificate.
Okay.
So for that, I logged into the official website, created an account,
Okay.
and it's pretty much simple. You just have to upload your transcript. By transcript, what they meant is all your mark cards. That is, just scan your, if it is B Farm, 4-year mark cards, semester, in case of semester case, it's 8 mark cards will be there. Scan that, put it in one PDF file, then upload it.
Okay.
And also your final certificate, you have to upload that, then pay the prescribed fees. And here what I request you guys to, I recommend you to also apply for electronic statement. It only costs £7 extra.
Okay.
Anyway, you have to apply for a physical document, but it's also better to apply for electronic documents because you can know the result on the day of publishment itself. So once you complete your payment, it will take exactly 21 days. Then you will get a mail. You will get a notification in your mail telling like your comparison process is over. Now you can check in your account.
Okay.
And when you log into your account, you will be able to download your electronic statement.
Okay.
And also physical copy, if you are also opted for physical copy, its tracking details will be shared there.
Okay. So that's with ENIC.
ENIC. And physical copy will reach you, or if it is in India, it would take almost 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. And that is why I told you to also request for electronic statement, because we don't know when another lockdown is going to be. So if you have that electronic statement with you, you can request GPHC. In such cases, I think they would accept that too.
Yeah, definitely. I think first time they used to accept, even now they accept the electronic one. What I also say to the students is that if you applied for your OAT, you have done your exam, but you're waiting for the result. During that time also, you can do your ENIC and you can keep it ready, everything. And then after ENIC, what else you do?
Of course, when I applied, as you apply for ENIC, there is like 21 days gap for that processing. During that time only you can start requesting for your supportive document. So these supportive documents are, first one is transcript from university, which should be sent directly from the university. Okay. So I have completed PharmD from Rajiv Gandhi University in Karnataka. Okay. So I made them directly sent from there. Okay. Of course, there's another way, like you can request for a transcript. They'll send you your address from there. You have to take it and post it from some courier centers nearby Rajiv Gandhi University or whatever university there is. Yeah. But the thing is, some courier centers, especially if you take DTDC, they won't allow you to send in their address. You have to give your address only. That will be a problem. With DHL, they would allow. I don't know how it's going to change in future. And since it's a little bit of risky procedure also, I requested RGHS directly to send from there only. Yeah. So they send transcript directly from there. Then I also applied for good standing certificate from Karnataka. The advantage with Karnataka State Pharmacy Council is you do not need to get registered with original degree certificate. And there is no that 6-month gaps also. You can directly get that. Once you get that, and the thing is, before all these procedures, you please go through the guidelines. One PDF guide is available for download in GPHC site. You please download that, and I request all of you to carefully read through it. It's clearly explained. Everything is clearly explained. I have seen a lot of questions in group, which is easily, you can easily solve that questions by reading that. Yeah. And Also, as soon as you pass your OET, just as a trial, you start filling that form, because
Yeah.
once you see the form, you don't find anything. As you start filling down, you'll find a lot of things confusing. So
Confused.
don't keep it for last.
Yeah.
First, only you fill the form as a trial.
Yeah.
So here, while getting good standing certificate from Karnataka, their usual format is there. In that, my registered address is not there, and the university from which I got my PharmD degree is not mentioned. So it's very fast. Kannada State Pharmacy Council is verified. I applied today. Tomorrow, I got an email where should be sent this good standing certificate. But since the format was not right, I told them I need these details to be included also. That is what GPHC request in that guideline.
Yeah.
Uh, they have attached another, they won't change that. It's a computer generated system. So that format they won't change. So I requested them to put these information in a letterhead and get it sealed by registrar and send along with that. So
Yeah.
what I am suggesting is you just go through the guidelines. In the guidelines, they'll tell you, even in reference letters or in good standing certificate, what information have to be included. And if it is not included in your general format, you can attach a separate letter on their letterhead, get it
Yeah.
signed by registrar, then you can send it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now,
Here I have to mention one thing. In Kerala, I think if you have not been registered as, if you're newly qualified and if you have not passed and you won't get a good standing certificate, what do you get? A good standing letter. I think last year batch when they applied, they didn't know, the council didn't know much about it, but now they know what the students are asking for. They have got the format and everything. So you have to, so if you're newly qualified, you are request them for a good standing letter. So where they say that, they write to everything, the so and so. For example, if it is me, Sheena Phillips, with the date of birth so and so, studied their pharmaceutical PharmD or a B Pharm in so and so college, and she doesn't have any any police criminal backgrounds or anything like that. So that's been written and sealed, and that is enough for the GPHC. So, but in Karnataka Council, which is good to hear, that they give you the certificate straight away. So this is what a slight difference in Kerala is there.
yes, ma'am. Yes, true. And now the another two supporting documents are your references.
Yeah.
So references, if you are only giving academic, you have to give 2 academic references. Here also they'll suggest whom they want their reference from. It should be someone who has supervised you during your internship, or who have taken care of you for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So one you can give from your principal,
Yeah.
and the other one, in case of PharmD, you can give from whoever was your preceptor during your internship or 5th year project work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I from my internship preceptor only, that was my HOD of the department, and another I gave from work only, my head of the department.
Yeah. One thing I
These
have to
also
mention.
have to send.
Yeah, go on,
Yes,
Amal. One thing I
these,
have to.
I'm sorry.
sorry. One thing I have to mention is like that when you're writing, always check your name and your surname, or if you have got a middle name, whatever is in your passport, exactly the name should be the same thing. They should not, if there is any discrepancy in your thingy, that has to be changed. And also your date of birth would be best to include. And also, if for your identity purpose, it's best to include, if you are right, if you're giving your reference, academic reference, if you're ask them to include your passport number also, something which would be makes that yourself as an identity.
Yes,
sorry, Amal,
yes.
continue.
In my case, that is an advantage with OET students. They will know the right format of writing the letter. So in that, there is a reference format, whom you are referring. So in that, if you write in that format, you can refer your name. And I think in that guidelines they have given, you have to also include your registration number, state council registration number. So I included my registration number also.
Okay.
And whoever that is referring also, if their registration number is valid, you can give that also. It's an advantage.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Thank you. So we've done the documents which has to be directly sent to the GPHC. So they are the academic references, the good standing letter or the certificate from the council, and the transcript from the university. So these all have to directly go to the GPHC. So now
Yes.
now you've passed your 80. Now you are going to do your application form.
Yes, ma'am. And here I have to tell you, I am getting a lot of messages like, what if we send the final application at first? Well, this is how things works in GPHC. Whatever documents you sent, they won't look into that. Once they receive that thing, they'll put into the stock. So they'll only start looking into your account once your final application reaches. So if you send your final application first, immediately they'll create a file on your name, and they'll also start looking for supportive documents. And if they don't find supportive documents, because of course it has not reached if you send it first, then they'll give you an email like your application appears to be incomplete. So it's going to create a little bit more misunderstanding, a little bit more complicated. So I always recommend candidates to send final application once you know all the supportive documents have been reached there. And also the tracking details as well as proof of delivery of all supportive documents should be kept with you until you receive your decision letter by GPHC.
Yeah.
This is because in my scenario, once I send my final application, and I'll get into that later only. Now we'll move with final application. So in the final application, I have told you, you just have to do a trial at first. So you'll get a lot of confusion. For example, if you have any short forms in your name, as in my case, I had one initial. So you have to get a certificate which proves like that name is actually meant to be this. In your passport, everything is expanded. But in your degree certificate, you may have some short forms, ANU P, like that. So you have to prove that what that P is, and that P in passport is equivalent to this P also. So for that, you can get one and the same certificate. When I did, you could obtain that from via Akshaya Center's online form. But now I think they have stopped that service. Now you have to go to any of the gazetted officers and get it signed by them. So it's better to attach that also, or else you have to fill a declaration also. But I anyway, for passport and visa purposes, you have to get one and the same certificate. So if you get now also, it's an advantage. You can do that. Well, that's the thing with supportive documents and final application. So you have to fill all your final application. And here I found what my confusion was: degree of award. Degree of award should be, if you got a final or convocation degree certificate, then the convocation date will be your degree of date of award of degree. And in case of birth certificate, in the guidelines, they are giving more focus on date of registration. They are telling date of registration should be within 1 year of date of birth. If it is not within date of birth, then you have to fill a declaration. That is what they are requesting. But when you move into filling the applications, there they have asked date of issue. They don't even mention date of registration. So this is what created a confusion in me. So what I did was I filled date of issue there, and date of registration I wrote with pencil. So what I want you guys to do is, if your date of registration or date of issue, any of these two is not within 1 year of your date of birth, that is beyond your date of birth, then you fill declaration A2. You just have to fill it. Anyway, you're going for solicitor's attestation. There you have to attest it. That's it. And next thing is regarding dates. So one of my friend who has sent application to GPHC received an email from them telling like, whatever date the solicitor has put is different from whatever date that you have put when you have signed.
Yeah.
So they all to send in an amended application. So I want you guys to know is what they expect. What GPHC expect is you have filled the entire application in the presence of them. That is what they are expecting. So all the dates that solicitor gives should be same, and whatever dates that you put below your sign should also be same.
Yeah.
Please do remember that. And you can send your final application at the last stage. Once the application reaches, by tracking, you can know whether the application has reached there or not. Once the application has reached there, give 3 to 4 days gap. Then you send an email telling whether you have received my final application or not. In the final application, you have to include uh, 2 certified photos by the solicitor. Then you have to include your passport copy, a copy of passport that is attested by the solicitor, and also a copy of ID that you used to sit for the English language exam. This is when you have not used your passport. If you have used your election card or other national IDs, then that copy attested by the same solicitor you have to attach along with the document.
Yeah.
Then a copy of your birth certificate that is duly attested by the solicitor. Now, how a solicitor should attest these documents, GPHC have clearly mentioned in that guideline. A sentence that they have to write, what sentence they have to write, and what all information of the solicitor should be included. I think it's their name and their registration number, license number also is there.
Yeah.
You can go through the guidelines, clearly they have mentioned there. So please read the guidelines. That is what I'm emphasizing on. Please do read the guideline before you do any process.
Yeah.
So this is regarding the final application. So once you know by tracking it has reached GPHC, after 4 days, you send an email asking them whether you have received my application. If not, wait for 2 or 3 days. Again, you ask them because
Yeah.
it might get delayed. I have seen such cases with other candidates. So once they have confirmed that they have received your application, then you have to wait for another 25 to 30 days. It will take almost 1 month.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I am not very sure because my application was very early. It was in October. Maybe it's because of that they have taken that much time. But for me, as well as my friends, it has taken almost 1 month for them to receive payment mail. Once your application reaches GPHC, it will take almost 1 month to receive your payment mail.
Yeah.
Now, this payment mail you cannot trust. So first you will receive a payment mail. Then after 1 hour or 2 hours, you may receive another mail telling like your application seemed to be incomplete as we have not received following. So they'll first send you the payment mail, and after 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 3 hours, they'll send you another email telling what are the wrong or what needs to be corrected in the application. So in case of supportive document, if they are telling they have not received, that is why I told you to keep proof of delivery. So next, what you have to do is you have to send them a mail telling like, I have requested so and so institution to send the reference or that supportive document to be sent directly. And as a proof, they have provided me with these courier details. So you have to attach the courier bill. Then you can attach the courier tracking screenshot. Then you can also attach the electronic proof of delivery. So what it does is it's going to make them locate the document very easily because you are having a unique ID there.
Yeah.
Courier ID will be there. And what you can notice is whatever courier is being sent, it will be just the sender address and the receiver address. Your name is not at all mentioned on the top of courier. So that is going to make them a lot of time to find that. So that may be the reason why they are not able to locate your particular document at that time. In my case, the transcript has not received. That is what they have emailed me. So I have sent all the proof, all the documents as a proof. And within 1 hour, they have emailed me back like they were able to locate the document. So so first you can do that. If a supportive document, if GPHC tells you like a supportive document has not reached, first you send in an application with all these courier details and let them check again. They'll let you know within 1 day whether it has reached or not. If not, then you can request for sending another courier.
Yeah.
That is regarding the supportive document and changes in the final application. If you have not filled your final application properly, of course, they are going to request you to send it again.
Yeah.
So you have to do it from the scratch, from the start. All things you have to do it, solicitors, everything you have to do it. Plus, now you have to be careful, like this is not your first application. This is going to be your amended application. So once the GPHC sends you an email, like it is incomplete or there is something that needs to be corrected, they'll also tell you your reference number, GPHC reference number. So
Yeah.
GPHC are already open up a file and that is your reference number. So you have to code that reference number in your application. In your application, there is a section asking whether you have applied to the GPHC prior.
Yeah.
So first time you are filling, you do not need to fill that. But next time you have to tick that box and write the reference number.
Yeah.
And also, when you send the resend the application, final application again, just take a printout of the email and also send that. Because this is going to indicate the staff in GPHC like this is an amended application form. So it doesn't have to follow the queue of new application.
Absolutely. You're right.
Or else it's going to take another month.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is regarding.
Even what they say is that you write your reference number and also print out the email what they sent to you.
Yeah.
That also be attached along with the application form.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
So that is regarding the application submission. So once your every document has reached there and its validity is almost true, they'll tell you your applications appears to be complete. They won't tell you application is complete. I think this is the tricky part. They'll just tell you application appears to be complete and it will be put to final decision.
Yeah.
So at this stage also, they can tell you like this is not proper. They'll check. I think they are going to look more into the validity of your application and authenticity of the application. If they are satisfied with that, and if they are satisfied also with whatever things that you have done during your gap period, you just have to mention you are preparing for IELTS. If it is a girl who has been married, you can tell marriage. Then pregnancy, all those reasons. They just need a statement of what you did during that gap period.
Even if it is 10, even if it is there is a 10 or 15 days gap, also mention that because they are very particular about all the gaps. You know, they just need what is being done.
Yes, ma'am. True. So once that application is complete and you have done the payment, then after some students, it took 20 days. For me, it took 15 days. So you can give it like 2 to 3 weeks. Then you will receive a final decision. And if it is a pass, they'll send you a PDF.
Okay.
Adjudication letter is sent as a PDF. They won't send you a physical copy. So what I request all the candidates is to save this PDF file in multiple locations because they'll particularly send you that another copy won't be issued.
Okay. Yeah.
So just save it. And for an additional safety, what I have done is I have taken a clear color print of that and kept this and treat it like an original certificate only. You treat it like an original certificate, keep it in your original certificate file. That is what I have done. So please do that. And they will also tell you in the email, like whatever universities that you have preferred, they will notify them very shortly. They'll send you, I think they are going to send them an email regarding all the supportive documents of the candidate. But it's not just the universities that you have preferred. So don't be discouraged if you want to apply to a university that you have not picked during the application. They'll notify all the universities. All 4 universities will be notified. In my case, I did not prefer Hertfordshire, but the first email I got was from them. So they'll be like, we have got a notification from GPHC and we know that you are not interested in applying to your university. But if there is a change of heart, you can apply. Like that, they will give you an email. Okay. So Hertfordshire will be the first to respond. Then it will be Brighton University. When you take Aston and Sunderland, do not wait for their mail. They are not going to respond. You have to take initiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is regarding the my GPHC process journey, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think you have explained very much in detail. What I would like to say to my to the students is that, you know, print out the, as Amal said, print out the application form. They have given in details, read and understand. But the day when you're filling up the final application, print out another new one. Because in case if there is any small changes, that is also, you know, you have not missed it. So every minute details, it has been included. And I think I have got a couple of queries which has been asked. One query was that, for my visa application, normally when the students comes to UK, they ask, what is your plan? So normally students say that, you have come here for study and you would like to go back. But OSPAP is not that case. OSPAP, you are coming here to become a pharmacist, which everybody is here aware about it, even visa section. Even if you say to the visa people that I would like to go back, that is absolutely a false. So when you're applying for the visa, say to them, you've come here to do an OSPAP, you're planning to do your pre-reg and your GPSC registration, and you're planning to become a pharmacist in UK. So that's what they expect you to do it. The second question, what I have been asked is that, I've been in a pharmacy, I've passed my pharmacy, B Pharm or PharmD, B Pharm 10 years ago, and I've been working as a pharmacist. Can I do this? Of course, you can do it. If provided, always think that it's not an easy course, but it is a doable course if you give your 100% to it. The people who have given their 100%, everybody has passed their GPSC registration. And I always say to my students is that if you could do your PharmD or B Pharm in India, because we have an intense learning over there, that means this is nothing. But always prepare to study, because in UK, nothing is spoon-fed. You will have a shock when you come here, because here what you do is that you give only 30% of your slide, 30% they teach you, and then the extra 20% slide they give you for you to do the homework. But the rest 50%, you have to go to the university and you have to spend time to study. So that you have to give. So it is not like doing MSc in public health or MSc in, it's not like that. It is a professional course. So you have to give that. So from the day one, what I think at the moment, I've got quite a few, Anu, Ria, Neeraj, all the students, what they told me is that from the day one, whatever they are teaching is for the GPSC registration exam.
Exactly.
So Sunderland is very good. Sunderland has got a good pass rate of 92 to 94%. So I'm not saying other universities are bad, because I'm from Sunderland. That's why I know about Sunderland. But what they say is that you have to give a heart of 100%. So probably other students may be able to do two. I mean, here you can, when you work as a student, when you come here as a student, you can do 20 hours a week. But that 20 hours a week, and then some students work as cash in hand, like in petrol pumps or shops and all, where they get a cash in hand. So they can work hours, so many 6 days and 5 days and all they work. But bear in mind, in OSPAP, you can't do that, because you have to give yourself your study also. So last year, whoever students came, or a couple of them are doing 1 shift a week. Couple of them are not doing at all. So because they know how they, so it's everybody's capabilities. You have to decide what you can. So it has to be well planned, what you're planning to do.
That's what I want to tell, ma'am. Yeah. Students should have that. It's not just the potential of learning, it's the mindset of learning that they should be having. You can't be lazy at any point. Yes. Here in Pharm, while you are doing PharmD and B Pharm, we will be lazy all the time until and unless they'll give you an exam. So just 1 or 2 weeks before exam, you have to study, you can easily pass. But that's not the case here. You can't be lazy even for 1 day. Yeah. You have to constantly work hard. So if you have that mindset only, then you please consider this course. I don't want anyone else to consider this course if you don't like to study. Of course, there are some students who doesn't want to study again, and it's for some MSc courses. If you're looking like that, then this is not a course for you. It's very intense, and you have to give that seriousness.
Yeah, definitely. So, coming to GPSC registration exam, you have got only 3 attempts, and you have to pass that within 3 attempts. I have got students in the students who have asked me, what if I fail my diploma in OSPAP? It's the same thing. What if you fail? Would I get a visa extension? See, that is not in our hands. You have to give your 100%. It's the same thing. If you come in for your MSc OSPAP, you are going to do a dissertation also. So if you fail in your dissertation, what are you going to do? Where you get it. So probably you may get a 1 chance more. Probably it will be there in that visa period. We can't say that. So always prepare. There is only 1 chance, and you have to do it then 1 chance. And always
And I
think
think
that,
there is also OSCE exam there in PG diploma. Last, they are going to conduct similar to nurses. I heard there is a OSCE similar to an OSCE exam.
yeah.
So that is also a little bit challenging.
Yeah, definitely. See, once you come and learn and have a systematic learning, I think I spoke to Anu other day, and was saying, if you have a systematic learning and if you learn systematically what is being told by your tutors and everything, I think that keeps your journey a bit more easy. And away from your family and away from everybody in a cold weather, it's not easy life. But always think there is a light under the tunnel.
Yes.
What are you doing for your better future, for your family, for your kids? Yes, then definitely you will do it. This is an opportunity which is open for you all. What you will do if you're becoming a pharmacist in India? What would so there is a bright future coming here. So I think take that opportunity, give that 2 years, just spend that 2 years more to study. I mean, you have done 6 years of study, spend that 2 years more on Indian study.
Yes,
there's nothing. And if you apply early, you can go in through the Sunderland University. Probably you can apply for a free last year there was a free accommodation, 1 year free accommodation for first come basis. So you can get into that also. That is a good thing. And the second thing what I was asked by students is that like how much is there any age is a barrier in UK? Definitely there is no discrimination of age in UK at all. Even if you're 55, we can still come down here. There is no age barrier, because by the time we get retired, it is 68 when we get now pension, 69 now when we get a pension. So second thing what is being asked is that, is there a discrimination in women? Not at all. I think majority of my friends who are pharmacists here are all women's and all are Indians. So definitely there is no discrimination. So apply for it. And, some has asked, if I complete mine by February, is it a time? Till last year, I could say that you could apply till May, June. But this year, lots of students are this time our intake in Kerala, from Kerala itself, we can see so much of intake of students. So you can imagine of all over the world, what would be our intake.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
In case if you didn't get it, you've done your GPSC registration, and in case if you didn't get it by chance for any of all the university got filled up, you don't dishearten yourself. They will say that, everything is complete for you. You will get a seat for next year. So don't dishearten, complete your procedure. That's what I'm telling you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else, Amal, you want to say?
I had a lot in my mind, but it's not coming. When I applied, I had a lot of confusions and problems in my application. It wasn't that smooth. So I know a lot of things. I have written down something, but now I'm not getting.
That's good. Let us know in the next video, we'll do it. So I think for me, the ambassador for OSPAP when last year was Anu. I think this year my ambassador for OSPAP is Amal. Thank you very much, Amal.
In
Thanks for all
process,
the time.
Yes, ma'am. In every process, I'll be going through some trouble. So I'll be able to tell that. Like right now, if I explain amendments in applications and all, so these things are surely I'm going to face. So I am the right candidate for you. That is what I am doing.
Thank you very much, Amal. Thank you for all the time you have given me. Hope my videos helped you when you did your OAT and your GPSC application.
Ma'am, you guys were the first video that I watched. I know this course like from my PharmD third year. Next year, I watched your video, and it was with Anu. I think that candidate only.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon in Sunderland. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to watch my YouTube channel. I hope everyone who had requested for me to do a video in English, I hope this video would help you out. If you have any queries, please do put your comment in your comment box. Myself or Amal or anybody could reply to it. I'll try my best to answer the question, reply to it as soon as possible. But the problem with my work, I think I take a little bit delay there. Thank you again for watching my YouTube channel. Thank you, Amal.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you.